Hello and welcome to Chapter 184 of the DC Alliance podcast. With me, as always, is Joe. Joe, how you doing this evening?
Not too shabby. Been a very busy week for me. Just had a lot of work. Yeah, just a lot of work. I know. Um, this weekend was fun. Yeah, I went to go see Barbie. Definitely worth seeing. I was gonna try and go see Oppenheimer, but uh,
Oh,
didn't get a chance to do that. I just my weekend became very busy very quick, which is normal for me anymore. But I do plan on seeing Oppenheimer soonish, maybe.
I might not get to see that until it hits theaters. It hits home
Was it?
theaters.
That's fair.
Home theaters,
That's
yeah.
fair. How you doing?
A little warm, to be honest with you. It's a pretty warm one here today,
A
but
little bit.
I'm good. I was at Allison's parents for the since Wednesday evening. It was nice. They have AC and a pool, so we were just enjoying them. Oliver was enjoying his grandparents, and it was nice to get out there. My parents get home this coming weekend on Saturday morning, so this first time I'll see them in like a year and a half. It'll be nice. First time they'll see Oliver,
Nice.
so yeah, it's gonna be a fun little weekend. No days off though, so back to work again on Monday. So not bad. A pretty slow Comic Con weekend. A lot of comic stuff, which was enjoyable. It's nice to see that get a shine, but not much in terms of big content. We have some stories about that.
We got some. I mean, I know you're going to talk about it on Animation Nation. I'm going to talk about a few of the stuff on Walk to the Multiverse. But it's been, you know, it's Comic Con. Yes, it didn't have a lot of hi Andrew. Didn't have a lot of movie and TV show news, which is fine. I think it should go back to the comics anyway. But that's just my personal opinion.
Well, I think we're both kind of. I'd like for there to at least be a day where that's all the focus is. Normally, the Holly stuff kind of takes away, but it wasn't much of that this year, which I thought that was pretty cool.
I did see one article. I can't remember who it was, but it was clickbaity to all get out. It was like something along the lines was like Marvel didn't show this at Hall H, and it was a big sin. It's like Marvel wasn't there yet. Like
But they
I'm not
shared the
clicking your
Marvels
article, dude.
trailer literally like a day before that, the FCCC. So I still enjoyed some of the stuff we got there. We'll talk about some of that a little later. We have a pretty cool little main topic I thought of that I think is going to be a little good discussion. Andrew, if you're in the chat, anyone else in the chat, feel free to throw out your ideas for these possible characters. But before we
I mean,
get into
I will
all
say
that,
this: we do gotta give credit to Andrew because he did kind of whisper this in our ear last week, and we
yes.
just kind of ran with it here. So thank you for that,
So
Andrew.
we're going to talk. We're going to talk about what DCEU characters we think will join the DCU, 3 each to be exact. But before we get into that, the news and a new Superman Adventures with Superman episode, we're going to do. Well, I'm going to do the network plugs and get them out of the way. We are part of the Geek Awesome Alliance with 8 shows in total. On Mondays is Ranger Alliance, and that rotates bi-weekly with Slice of Film. On Tuesdays is DC Alliance. On Wednesdays is the Animation Nation. On Thursdays is Star Wars Alliance. On Fridays is Marvel Alliance. On Saturdays is a walk bi-weekly as we walk through the multiverse. And Sundays monthly is World's Finest True Believers. DC Alliance goes live on the Geekverse YouTube channel Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Star Wars Alliance goes live Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and Marvel Alliance goes live Thursdays at 9:10 p.m. Eastern Time. All 3 of those shows also have their own podcast feeds. Search Marvel Alliance, DC Alliance, and Star Wars Alliance if you just want Marvel content, DC content, or Star Wars content only. But if you want all 8 shows on the GUA Podcast Network, stay subscribed to the GUA on your podcast app of choice. We also have a Patreon, 2 tiers, a $1 tier and a $5 tier. The $1 tier is basically a tip jar. You like what we're doing, you want to help us out any way you can. And the $5 tier is where you get your extras. You get your ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and Patreon exclusive episodes. Myself and Joe are going to the DC films through the year, so stick with us. We cover the entirety of DC films, searching far back as Batman 66, the movie. So that's really enjoyable with myself and Joe. We also have Brent and Chris, the Marvel Alliance guys, doing their Infinity Saga rewatch. So stick with them as they cover the entirety of the Infinity Saga. We also have Joe's Multiverse Minutes, Clay watching shows for the first time, and Katie going through Star Wars comics with her husband, Matt. We thank everyone that's a patron, but if you're not a patron, if you can take a quick 30 to 60 seconds to rate and review the podcast on your podcast app of choice, it's always greatly appreciated. It helps other people find the shows, and that's always a good thing. Okay, Joe. I think it's pretty good. We're ready to rock 5 minutes in. That's not too bad for us.
That's quicker than most times. Yeah.
So we have a pretty fun, what I think is a pretty good fun opening main topic. because the news was a little slow. There wasn't a whole lot coming out of Comic-Con.
That's DC.
We're going to talk about, and I also want to give a shout out to Nick Caruso, because he had this out here that kind of made me think about this as well, and also with Andrew with his questions in the chat. But he had a tweet out a couple weeks prior just saying he was a little confused in how Gunn's DCU is going to be with some DCEU characters coming over. And Andrew asked us a couple questions last week, like Joe said. So we're going to talk about 3 DCEU characters that we think are going to be in DCU. But the caveat to this, obviously,
we think / we would like to see.
Yes, and we're going to exclude Peacemaker characters because they're already confirmed to be showing up. And so I'll get this. We all are a big fan of Nico Andrew.
That is.
Yeah.
I have no idea who that is, so I'm good.
Vigilante 1939 podcast. So, Joe, my first one I'm going to get right off the hop is Black Canary, Journey Smollett. I think there's a lot of meat on that bone, but there's also not a lot of baggage with the DCU. We've only seen her once in Birds of Prey. I know that they're talking about finding a Korean actress and a Korean director to play Huntress and direct Huntress. That was the rumor. But there hasn't been anything about Black Canary besides, I want to say Misha somebody was attached and confirmed that Journey Smollett was going to still be there. I haven't heard anything about the project since.
Yeah.
But this seems like something that Gunn might be interested in / open to her returning.
Journey Smollett was on my list as well. That you nailed it on the head. She's a character where, she's got ties to Huntress and Harley, but those can easily be shifted into, you are now tied to this Batman, this Gotham City. It's also a nice, good way to get a new Green Arrow along the way. Like, she would be perfect because she was a great Black Canary in Birds of Prey.
Especially you're going in the very beginning before she even meets Green Arrow. There was no Green Arrow in the DCEU, so you can have her meet the Green Arrow. I think it would be pretty cool. Was that your number 3 as well? That was your first.
That was actually my number 1.
Ooh,
my other 2 / 3, because one is, I'll explain it here in a second. But the other ones are, So we'll get there.
Let's get one of yours then, Joe.
So this is my least possible, but I would like to see it, and it's a 2-for-1. Harry Lennox and Christina Wren as Secretary of Defense Calvin Swanwick and Major Carrie Ferris. And it doesn't even have to. You can take away the Martian Manhunter thing. Like, he doesn't have to be Martian Manhunter. I like both of those characters, both of their presence in Man of Steel and BVS, and Lennox in Justice League. Zack Snyder's Justice League was just nice to see. I think they both would be a good addition because they're the everyman to this world of gods.
Yeah. That's how they played it in this DCEU, which is good. Now, it feels like Gunn goes for a lot of those everyman people to be more humorous in his world with the Peacemaker.
And had a lot of humor in Man of Steel, just saying.
That's true. I would love to see them, but I'm more so thinking, my thoughts when picking these characters, I don't think Gunn's taking anything from like Man of Steel or even BVS. I don't think those characters.
But I do like those two as a package deal.
That is a good.
Great to see them.
I would love to see them, Joe. Those are two that I thought about as well as with Perry, but I didn't think Perry would fly. I really wanted to put him in because I really enjoyed the character, but
I think Perry would be the hard one because just like that Perry fits. It's no different than what's his? Oh crap! J.K. Simmons. I was gonna say J. Jonah Jameson. J.K. Simmons as Jordan. That's what I know him as, specifically because I just watched Spider-Man for my other podcast. So J.K. Simmons as Gordon, like that Gordon is with Ben Affleck Batman. That Perry is with
That yeah.
Henry Cavill Superman. Like
That was my
can't
thoughts
take
as
that away.
well. So
Whereas Harry Lennox and Christina Wren could move over because they're military people. You can easily bring them over and really have no problems there.
But we also we saw them. They didn't include them in Flash when they met Zod either, which it would have been nice.
It was all from afar, and I think
that
could have just been contracts.
100% just didn't mind paying.
Whatever, yeah.
Which you know what? I picked my second choice here, and I completely forgot about the slap before when I picked them. So I was thinking Deadshot, Will Smith. I don't know how many things we're going to see anymore post slap. This was honestly I forgot all about it. Maybe the greater public will eventually
honestly,
too.
The slap is whatever, but that's not going to stop you from.
I've really enjoyed his character. He's probably my favorite from the Suicide Squad. I don't think there's a lot of baggage with him. I think you could have him return as Deadshot. There's not a lot to that character. Obviously, he had the Idris Elba Bloodsport,
which could easily also come back. I wouldn't mind seeing him. If we're being honest, Bloodsport would come back before Deadshot.
More likely, yeah. So swinging it back to you, Joe.
My final one is Zhang Kai as Ryan Choi. That's one that, yes, he's in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Yes, that has a lot of baggage. But his role was so minimal that you could actually build upon it and expand it. And, oh, look, you've got the Atom in your universe. So, I mean, my biggest one is of course Ray Fisher, but that's never going to happen.
I thought about putting him on there as well, but I was like, there's a better chance of me being cast in DCU. If I'm being honest with you, I got less baggage. I had a twofer. I just added one for my final selection. Probably, I would fair to say probably my most likely, I think, is Wonder Woman. I think there's a chance Gal could still appear. I know it's not 100%, but I do think there's still a chance where she's relatively young, and I think she could go for another 10 years as Wonder Woman. Now, who knows? But I also think Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie should come back as well. Obviously, Gunn worked with her in the Suicide Squad, but
correct. But Margot Robbie's hot right now, so it'd be not a dumb move. I don't want to say dumb move, but it would be kind of bad if they didn't keep her on.
The Gotham City Sirens in Chapter 1.
I would love that.
That would be amazing. So I think that would be a pretty cool choice. And those are pillars of the DCEU, but I think both of those people are recognized in the pop culture as those characters.
And I think,
universally by everybody.
100%. I think Margot Robbie Harley Quinn has a better shot of coming back than Gal Gadot Wonder Woman. I would love to see Gal come back, but honestly, I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to keep the Trinity closer in acting age, so that as the years go and the movies progress, they all age together. I don't know.
Is there any that in the chat? Is there any of you guys think that we missed that you think there's a possibility of them occurring, coming from the DCU? I would like to see Gunn take at least one or two characters that he didn't have anything to do with and put them in. If he's just going to do all the characters that he interacted with while he was doing the DCU, I feel like it's a little lazy. Just reboot and recast some of the.
I mean, the nice thing about what he did with the Suicide Squad and with, exactly, Andrew. With
sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was like, Andrew Haley said, with Wonder Woman 3 not happening, I don't see her returning. And that's a really good point, too. Yeah. That all was kind of done in Cloak and Dagger and Seek of the Night. Just, nope, we're not doing that film now.
There was a lot of things that
there were some hurt feelings
promised by multiple people in multiple different studios that just isn't happening. Mm-hmm. And obviously with everything going on now with the strikes, that's definitely not happening. But no, with Gunn making Suicide Squad, making Peacemaker, yes, they have a connection to the old DCU EU, but those connections can easily be washed away. The connections that they have are loose enough that they don't actually have to be connected. So
Yeah, I agree. Andrew also says I like to have her back, but I don't have high hopes. And that was more me hoping. That's why I added Harley at the end. That's one that Gunn worked with, so I think it's a little lazy cop-out for me. But still, I would love to see those characters. I think there's some interesting characters that you could bring back across. Obviously, Amanda Waller, I think that is a perfect person to play Amanda Waller. But again, like I'm open, I would have been open to him recasting and just use all these actors in different roles in DCU. That could cause a little confusion, but bringing some characters over may cause some confusion as well. I don't think it will with the general audience. I think they'll just roll with the punches.
they
I don't
might.
think they're-
I know the popularity of Peacemaker and how like that show just took off like
that
gangbusters.
that opening intro was
The opening intro
people
is what
doing
got
dances
everybody.
with
What
that
everybody loved.
everybody.
I think if you were to take all those characters and give them all new roles, that might confuse people. But like people are gonna be okay with Momoa maybe being Lobo. Like I don't know.
Yeah, like
We as the nerd audience understand it. We're fine with it. We want to see these movies made. The general audience might be a little more confused, but that's why they go to their nerd friends who know the stuff and they ask questions,
and
and then we explain it to them
yep, that's happened to me at work
over
multiple
and
times.
over and over again.
They want to know what's going on in Flash and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, Andrew gives his choices: 1, Margot Robbie; 2, Jason Momoa. I thought of putting Jason Momoa on there as well, but I think there's also a chance it depends on Aquaman 2 for me. I
It
think if
does,
that's a
but since
bust, he could be Lobo instead.
yeah, since Aquaman 2 is well, we'll get to that with the projections of
Yes,
Blue Beetle, but I don't think Aquaman 2 is going to be.
we both love Peacemaker as well.
Peacemaker was great.
It was awesome. It was also John Cena is 100 times the actor that Dwayne Johnson is.
Dude, I liked The Rock when he first showed up in these movies acting like
Walking Tall, he was great in.
Walking Tall was great. I mean, the beginning part of Mummy 2 was good. The back part where he was all CGI, not so much.
No,
I love Scorpion King. I thought that movie was amazing.
There's one where he chases after Sean William Scott. That was good as well.
No,
yeah.
Rundown.
Rundown, yeah.
That one was fun. Like his early stuff was good. Game Plan, where he's like has his kid and he's a football player. Great. Like I love that stuff. It's when it's the stuff now that's just like, like it's fine.
You just being the Rock.
But like John Cena, yeah, you know a lot of stuff he starred in, a lot of direct DVD movies, a lot of like not great stuff.
In comedies, and he was really good in some of the comedies I saw him in, and then he's been good in the action stuff I've seen him. He's great, and I'm really excited to see more. Obviously we're big fans of Peacemaker.
His scene in Barbie is amazing,
and he just did that willy nilly because he made such a good friendship with Margot Robbie on Suicide Squad. So yeah, again, I love it. These are good choices. Andrew, that was a good choice as well. Good 2 choices as well.
I'm pretty sure. So Andrew, he says, I guess maybe Blue Beetle, but to be determined. It actually was already
confirmed
that Jaime
Blue Beetle
will be in that universe. So yeah.
Joe,
Jumanji. The first Jumanji was good. I hit that.
Second one wasn't terrible, but it just wasn't as good.
It wasn't. They tried to redo the formula or like copy paste formula, and it just like didn't.
It just made all the money for them, but didn't. Wasn't nearly as good.
But even the ride, what's it called? Oh, Jungle Cruise. Jungle Cruise was fine. Wasn't great, but it was fine. I enjoyed it.
It's the same carbon copy.
It literally is.
So, Joe, let's take our first ad break of the evening. Listen to our ad-supported network. We don't pick the ads or the volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe. We don't have that much news to talk about. Well, there's a lot of bullet points, but there's not a lot of big news.
No, we could probably buzz through these pretty quick.
Yes, and then we'll get into My Adventure with Superman, episode 4, and go on from there. We have Talkville's back, so we were back with our Smallville retro recaps as well. But before we get into all that, Warner Brothers is considering changing the date for Aquaman Last Kingdom. They have already changed the date for. I don't think
No,
Ezra Mass Flash is never appearing again, Andrew. That will be my bankable on that.
All God has said is
he did a really good
Shiloh.
job of kicking it again. That was pre-box office.
Shiloh, who's playing Jaime in Blue Beetle, that's the only one that he has confirmed outside of like the Peacemaker.
But, Peacemaker crowd and Viola Davis's show as well. Joe, they're talking about moving Aquaman 2. They moved Dune. Do you think there's a chance with the strikes that they will do this if it forges on into the fall, like late into the fall?
I think they will.
Yeah.
Only because they won't have anything next year. Like, and that's not. And I'm not even just saying superhero like DC stuff. I'm saying
movies,
Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Stuff. By the time that the strikes end, if they end, and productions start going back into filming and everything, and post production, all that stuff happens, they might have films the back half of 2024, but they're going to be losing that money in that first half.
Yeah.
So I definitely could see them doing it. I almost wish. I know it's too late. I think this was talked about in our group chat. I wish Blue Beetle would move a little later. Just because it's not really. I don't know.
I don't like that fact that we get Blue Beetle, then we have to get Aquaman that ends the DCEU, and we have to go from Superman after that. I wish Blue Beetle. I wish they switch them. I know they talked about changing Blue Beetle, but there was nothing that went ahead with that.
Yeah,
with Barbie and Oppenheimer this past week still doing bank, that might implore these studios, especially WB, where Barbie made a lot of money and they've been having loss after loss after loss.
I'll say
that might implore them to put this out.
I think the reason that it was definitely the social media that made Oppenheimer and Barbie as big as
Barbieheimer was trending
100%. Barbheimer definitely had a terrible weekend because she was probably getting tagged left and right. But Barbenheimer, it's for whatever reason, these two movies coming out on the same day was box office gold. I mean, Barbie, I think, is right there, just below 200 million for the opening weekend. Like, that is insane.
Andrew says, with all the reshoots, I don't have high hopes about it, and I think with the DCU, the general audience probably won't care as much. And that's the question. I say this, but Aquaman was going into its first film the exact same way. Justice League had just bombed. Everyone's like, why are they going to want to go watch an Aquaman film when Justice League was terrible? They're not going to want it. People, nobody's going to go. And it made $1 billion. So first of all,
it also made $1 billion in December when there was no other movies against it.
Mary Poppins. People were talking about Mary Poppins beating Aquaman. That's what the talk was. I remember people actually saying Aquaman should move because there was so much stuff around and it was going to get destroyed by Disney's Mary Poppins, and Aquaman did the destroying. Which is why I don't know 100%. I know that the strategy there though was it aired 2 weeks earlier in Europe and all overseas, and that's where it made the majority of its money was overseas. It would just been a little above average film with the North American gross, but it really killed. Its backhand was
I remember China definitely helped it.
Yes, most of its money was
all Pitbull.
Most of his money was it was a giant octopus, Joe. It was always a giant octopus.
Yes, the drowning octopus. I forgot.
But no, I like I said, I'm 100% in on the film. It's just a question of money. Yeah, how much is it gonna cost you to push it back, or should you just go cut bait and go forward after this?
They haven't really done any advertising for it. Maybe because they're holding off specifically. I mean, they were holding off to try.
Blue Beetle only just started a couple weeks ago. So
yeah, but they were focusing on one movie instead of focusing on the next couple. Because last time they did, when they put out that trailer of oh look, here's the 4 movies coming out in the next couple of months, and then they're like, nope,
we're my least favorite trailer of all time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They did that, and that backfired because of whatever reasons. So them not focusing on multiple movies at this time is probably actually helping them more than we actually thought. versus
Well, we can't
Marvel.
really
Obviously,
say
like
that.
Marvel, they can have 2 or 3 things going on at once, and people are gonna watch it regardless. So
They've had misses lately when they've only had one film to prepare for. So I just think that,
yeah,
it just all depends. Andrew says that he's still going to go see it, when we both are.
yeah,
We'll be
same.
reviewing
We're
it,
gonna
obviously.
review it, but
He
yeah,
said he saw Barbie on Saturday night and might see Oppenheimer tomorrow.
like I said, I'll probably go see it this week, and I got my Sunday is free, so maybe I might go see it Sunday.
And Andrew made a good point. He said if it comes out in December, we should have already seen a teaser by now. Normally, yes, but I do think like we didn't. It took a while for us to get the Blue Beetle second trailer. It took a while for us to get the Flash second trailer. I just think that they're going to wait until September to even start rolling stuff out. Plus, with the reshoots and stuff, I'm sure they have a trailer in the can. It's just they have done.
A company does it, so they can easily have a trailer now if they really wanted to. But I'm right there with you. We might get something. We got Blue Beetle in what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We might get something within the next 3 weeks. We may get a trailer with Blue Beetle.
Yeah,
if I'm being honest, that would be if we don't have a trailer by Blue Beetle.
Yes, that's the greatest point. Then it's getting pushed. Confirmed. We will both. I'm 100% on that. And just a couple quick notes from the Aquaman 2. There will be no Batman in the Aquaman 2 now with all the reshoots. So both those cameos are cut.
We knew that a while
ago. We knew that already. It's just confirmed.
Again, still freaking sucks.
But maybe they'll keep, like, the one thing that I would love for them to do, they didn't do much of that in the DCU, was have some deleted scenes. Have a scene that we don't get to see like this. That would be awesome.
I was told that Muschietti is going to be having a director's cut for The Flash.
Ooh.
Which would probably have all the scenes that Gunn and Safran cut.
Yeah, and we have some a little thing about that too. Yes, and the other thing as well is James Gunn said to weighed in on the most recent cut of Aquaman 2, and he approved a 5-day shoot. And it said that the shoot went so well that James Wan and the crew got what they needed in 4 days. So that's just a couple little positive notes. Now I don't know if that's just
good.
That's just if
you're. I don't know.
I'll believe it when I see it. And switching news a little bit to now, Joe. Since James Gunn and Peter Safran's DC takeover, we've seen a surge in comic book sales for the company. In some cases, tripling the figures of certain titles. Authority, for one, was not even printing, and it just went wildfire. So I love seeing the comics get featured like that because that's where most of these stories are based on and these characters come from. So it's just nice to get their shine. We talked about it with SDCC, just that there's no films in that. We talked about that in the opening here, but it just comes back here as well. When you give comics the shine, good things come from it.
Well, and like I know Supergirl Women of Tomorrow, that thing sold out when it originally was being made. And then when they announced that that's what they're making the movie about, it doubly sold out.
Same thing with Swamp Thing. Like I have a first issue Swamp Thing. It went up like I think doubled in value since the Swamp Thing film was announced.
Yeah. So
like
it's good. Like it's definitely good. People are interested in these properties. People want to see these stuff being made and being made good. But that's us nerds. Again, this all needs to apply to the general audience. The general audience needs to be excited. Majority of us are gonna go see it. We're gonna go see the movies already. I know I've got a friend, another podcaster, who him and his co-host, they both said they're gonna see Blue Beetle. One said he's gonna try and see it in theaters if he can. The other one's like, yeah, I'll wait until streaming. And that's the big problem.
And that, my friends, is how you do a transition, because that transitions us right into the next topic, which is the long-range forecast for Blue Beetle.
I never planned that. It just kind of
that's why you're a natural. It's just a natural. So yeah, the Box Office Pro has long-range forecast for Blue Beetle as of July 20th of this year. It thinks it's going to make 12 to 17 million for its opening weekend, with a domestic total of 27 to 55.
That's not great.
No, I'm hoping that they're completely wrong and we get a 40 or 50 million opening weekend.
Do we know what the budget was?
I think it was close to 100 million.
Ooh.
With the extra
because they upped it.
It was earlier, but
a max. Okay, that's right.
That's cool. I hope we get more of a positive thing here. Now, there was the first reaction that I've read for Blue Beetle via Victor Ramos Rosado. Was a movie full of heart, a love letter to the multiple ways of being Latino, as an epic celebration of diversity, as a major Hollywood superhero production. None of that will be possible without Angel Manuel Soto. So that was the review.
Which is, I mean, good. This is gonna need good word of mouth if we're being honest.
Yeah, the 100%, which is could stay in for a while because you could have a few weeks there, especially if you run into September as well. I just hope it doesn't have a Flash type
and that's
reaction.
That's the biggest worry. Again, people are already saying they're just going to wait until streaming, and it's those people who are waiting until streaming, which is what will get it to streaming quicker. They're just going to wait a couple weeks, which I hate.
I know one thing I can say with absolute fact that Blue Beetle has had the coolest popcorn bucket that I've ever seen yet from the AMC theaters.
I got ice over there.
Allegedly, there will be straps attached to it, so you can also wear it as a backpack.
That's pretty cool. For being honest.
That seems awesome. So Andrew also said, "I'm very excited for James Gunn's DCU. He's proven that he can handle superhero projects. Now, when we need to see if he can handle universe, which I think he can." We both agree with that as well, Andrew. We're of the sentiment that one comic writer puts down the comic, another one picks up the comic and starts his own take on it, and that's what we're excited for. We both enjoyed Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, so we're right on the money with that. So Joe, we finally figured out who Jay Garrick was in the Flash, and spoiler alert, it was not the character from
Everybody
the
thought
Flash.
it was.
Everyone thought it was. No, and it's very just simple explanation. Andy Muschietti wanted Jay Garrick front and center for the Flash, and VFX supervisor DJ suggested they have a real face just to help with the look of the shot. Flash editor Jason Ballantine jumped at the opportunity to be the face of the Golden Age speedster. So that's who it was. It was not
awesome,
Teddy Sears.
But you have Teddy Sears. You have John Wesley Shipp.
Like, that's one of the most frustrating cameos. Yes. Not even Teddy Sears, because John Wesley Shipp there, who is OG Flash and was Flash as well in the Arrowverse. Or you could do Grant Gustin, who's been on running for 9 years. Have either of you read Flashpoint? I read it for both times. Both of us have read Flashpoint. I haven't read all the tie-ins, but I have read the main. You have all the tie-ins.
I read that shit when it was coming out, issue by issue. That was one of the things that killed my obsession with buying issue to issue.
I did like the main story, but the subsets of that was just too much.
Some of them were good, some were bad.
Just too much.
I'll be honest. The obviously the Batman one was great because you got Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne as Wayne as Batman, Martha Wayne as Joker. The Aquaman and the Flash were great because it was the war between the two. But then you had the Ambush Bug one shot. And it was just like, okay,
don't need that.
You had a Kid Flash Lost, I think it was called, and it's just him and the Speed Force. Nothing to do with anything. Didn't need to happen.
There was a Titans one where they were in the Phantom. No, wait, I'm thinking of Injustice. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, there was some good ones. There really were. There were some ones that were just like meh.
Yeah,
I actually, funny enough, what was it? Like a month or two ago, I found when the issues were coming out back in 2011. You could get buttons of each thing, and I got all those buttons on a little cardboard thing out in my garage.
You found that?
I still have that.
That's pretty cool.
Dude, I used to go to the comic shop all the time back in the day.
Back before DC Universe.
Well, not only that, but back when I was actually reading this stuff all the time.
It's hard to keep up.
Read it anymore.
You just don't have time to keep up. So, Joe, you alluded to this earlier as well. The Flash director, Andy Muschietti, has revealed that Michael Keaton's Batman retired after he killed a criminal in front of his child.
I'm sure he deserved it.
Well, we saw Keaton's murderous rampage. We knew it was going to continue, and it was going to go unchecked.
Yes, but never in front of a child.
He probably caught one of those clowns again, strapped another dynamite on, and kicked him down to the well. And then the kid saw him go down to the well and explode, and be like, "Oh no, that was my dad. He's just trying to make a living. So that's what they say all the time. And I just want to make note that Batman wouldn't fight Deadshot. Batfleck wouldn't fight Deadshot in the alleyway in front of his kid. He's like, "Oh, no, I don't want to do this in front of your kid, Deadshot."
Yes, exactly.
So
But
don't want to say.
Oh,
But sorry, I
forever.
couldn't help it. Couldn't help it. I really enjoy Keaton too in that film. So DC has unveiled a new Batman movie figure. Six of the Batman all together. What do you think about this collection, Joe? I'm a little disappointed there was no BVS Batman. I thought using the tactical suit was terrible for Batman, for Batflex. I wish they would have used BVS Batman, BVS Batsuit there instead of the tactical. I thought that was one of the worst suits that he had. Dark Knight's awesome, Pattinson's awesome, Keaton's awesome, Kilmer and Clooney as well. Really cool little lineup there.
They missed Adam West.
Yes, they did. But I think this was we can technically count that as theatrical. You're right.
It was in theaters.
So, just a little bit of SDCC news to wrap this up here. So, he's Wonder Woman 1, written by Tom King on September 19th. That's exciting. It's nice. I'm really interested to see with him taking over Wonder Woman.
I read it in the notes, and it says we will be reading Dawn of DC's Wonder Woman #1. I'm like, wait, we will? Like, I'm not.
No, I meant it was from the thing.
But that's from the tweet. That's that's the tweet that was put out. And once I clicked the link, I'm like, oh, okay, he just got pasted. Gotcha.
Yeah. No, this is
don't get me wrong. I love Tom King. King. Having Trinity as Wonder Woman, like that is my bread and butter. I love it when somebody else takes over the main role because it's just my first introduction into comic books was the Death of Superman, and then Return of Superman and all that. Like, so it's other people in the Superman role, and then Batman Nightfall, where John Palvalet was Batman for a year. Like, that is my bread and butter. So like this, I am here for it. I'm just not going to be reading it anytime soon because I haven't read a new DC comic in probably about a year.
Well, you got the backlog of issues. Also, the art and cover by Daniel Sampier as well. I wanted to make sure I got the artists in there. So still, it's just exciting. Like, I always love that they're getting more comics.
I know it'll be on DC Universe because I've got the Infinite Ultra Max to the.
You'll get it 6 months after. 6 months after it.
I think it's like 2 months now because I get, like I said, I've got the Ultra Max, Ultra XXX, whatever, to where I get it earlier.
Andrew says, "Did either of you see the superpowered doc on Max?" I've seen the first part.
I still haven't watched it.
4 parts, maybe. Not sure.
I believe it's 4.
Yeah. So I've seen the first one. The second one's out too. I think, Andrew, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, so I do have a bit of time. Do you have a bit of catching to do? I didn't. I just haven't had time. A lot of stuff going on. I think I got one. It's the same time. I got 2 hour stretch there the weekend where I watched Adam and Eve, and then I watched.
I was about to say, like, it came out. That came out Friday, and I didn't get a chance to watch it until last night.
3 parts. Thank you, Andrew. 3 parts. So, Joe, DC announced another comic starting as Justice League versus Godzilla and Kong. Shout out to Clay, Fanboy Clay, hosts Star Wars Alliance and Ranger Alliance, who did a TikTok about this as well, just breaking down the announcement. I thought it was pretty cool.
He shared this in I'm in a group chat with him and Chris. It's our comic book group chat. He shared it in that, and it looks awesome. It's another one of those where I think there's a giant Batman robot fighting Godzilla. Like,
holy cow! Something like Clay said in the TikTok. The thing that I never knew I needed most, or something along those lines, was 100% to me. It felt the same way when I saw it. I can't wait to check this out. I'm really interested in this kind of stuff. I'm all about this. Same thing with Justice League and Power Rangers. Love that as well. Rangers,
obviously.
So the last thing, there was an announcement for. I'm still not quite sure of it. An interactive series, Heroes United.
Yeah, I have no idea.
And this essentially puts you in charge of an entire DC universe featuring iconic characters including Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman. Doesn't say anything. Now we give you a chance to be critical decision from day one with incredible storyline, graphical. So yeah, there's no telling about it.
Choose your own adventure thing. That's what it seems like to me. But I'll check it out. Like, don't get me wrong. I never did watch. I have, but never did watch the Red Hood Choose Your Own Adventure, Death in the Family.
That's a good, enjoyable.
Choose Your Own Adventure. But I heard all about it and all the choices, and there's multiple different endings, so it just depends on what you get. So yeah, I'm. That sounds cool.
Yes, same. Like I would love to see how this do this, but it goes to the back of the list of things for me that I can get to.
If we're being honest.
Yes, because there was a lot of animation stuff announced. I'll talk about some of the DC stuff, and Animation Nation is only two DC things, but I'll get into that. You'll hear that on Wednesday.
Just a real quick, I just got an announcement on Prime or Amazon that the Justice League War World, I'm getting that. That's coming in the mail tomorrow. On DVD, or Blu-ray. Sorry,
that'll be reviewed soon enough as well. So I'm really excited to check that out. Joe, one little quick thing before we take our final ad break. Peacemaker is going to be a downloadable character in the new Mortal Kombat game, joining Omni-Man as well. I just think, like we talked about earlier, it is it's a character that's just stuck with the general audience, the general audience is in on Peacemaker now. Andrew asks, is there a DC animated film you'd like to see in live action?
Under the
I got you. That's a good one. Green Lantern First Flight. That's the Green Lantern film that you got to tell where he's not on Earth at all. Like, it's all space. Give me all space. With the space adventure, give me it all. So yeah, that would be my first choice, Andrew. There obviously are other ones. The Dark Knight Returns, Part 1, Part 2. The exact adaptation from the book comes to mind as well.
Nice. But what do you think of it? What you got one, Andrew?
Yeah, we'd love to hear your choice as well. So Joe, let's
break. For that.
We'll take our break. Listen to our ad support network. We don't pick the ads or volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe. We have just a little bit left to get over here. We have My Adventure with Superman, episode 4. What did you think about this 4th episode, Joe?
I'm being completely honest. My favorite so far. This episode was awesome. Killing Joke. Look. Batman the Killing Joke is a really good one. Maybe not that version of the Killing Joke.
I could see that working with Pattinson's Batman.
We don't need that first 30 minutes. We just push that aside.
Yeah, let's just make that up for the move the pacing a lot and have a Batman action scene.
But no, like this episode of My Adventures with Superman was. It was a lot of fun. The opening scenes, just it was cementing the team together. Ivo was just that flamboyant, like what I don't want to say asshat, but just like
asshat. Say asshat.
Okay,
that's exactly what it was. He reminded me
terrible.
Some of the characters we've seen in Marvel, like
I'll say a worse Tony Stark.
Justin Hammer.
Justin Hammer. Yeah. Yep.
Justin Hammer, but his technology worked.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
It did work. Superman's
disabled. Worked. Just
not great. Remember when he outfitted Rhodey with all the weapons, and then he tries to shoot the big giant weapon, and it's like.
Well, that was Rhodey's fault for trusting Hammer.
I'm just saying, Hammer was a little suspect. I'm right here with you, though.
Should I say Scrody? Because we don't know if it's actually Rhodey or not. Sorry.
Ooh, good call.
Anyway, thank you.
So,
episode 4 was great.
I'm right there with you. I loved it. It was my favorite of all the episodes we've seen so far. I love what they did. Even just introducing Ivo was pretty cool. We've got him in different interpretations, and I love how by the end you're like, oh, okay, you look more like the typical Ivo that I would probably see here than the one before.
I really like it because it's anime. This was the most anime.
Oh my god!
Of all time, the moment when
he turned into a robot.
Well, not only
When
that,
Parasite turned into robots, I was like, this is full blown anime now. Every episode has to have robots.
that one was yes, but the moment in the stairwell where Lois is going to sew up Clark's jacket, and he takes off everything, and he's just like posing there, completely anime. Like it was
The
like
red under her,
awesome.
same thing. The red under her indicating blushing. Like I'm like, oh my god! But I really love it. And this was a good. Lois got to shine a
Parasite.
little bit more in this one
Dude,
as well.
this was a different version of Parasite I didn't think I'd want. You
Nope,
know,
same. When I started seeing it play, I was like, oh, this seems so terrible. Like, how are you going? But by the end, too, not only did you like you could get another version of Parasite down the road. This guy is set up to be like old, vindictive Ivo that you could have make a
yeah,
Mazo down
amazing.
the line.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Which
this is perfect.
so
So good.
so just jump into some of the stuff. We won't get into everything, obviously. What do you think about them finally getting an assignment from Perry? Because this is the first time they've been annoying him for 4 episodes now, and he finally told them to go out there and get
That was fun.
just
Like
some regular quotes.
it was yeah, regular quotes. I did appreciate Clark gonna start doing that until till Ivo makes a comment about Lois, and he's like, "So all about that corruption that you did and all the things that like he full on stood up for Lois there, and I loved it. It was great.
Yes, I did as well. It was just nice to see him, and I did see the little sadness of Jimmy at the end when he looked and
Right?
saw the two of them go away. I was like, "Oh no! Like, don't get some resentment. Like, talk it out with your boy Clark because he was friends with Jimmy before he was friends with Lois
Sure,
in this."
sure.
And yes, this is it. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah,
But yes, that really made me. So yeah, ultimately, things go crazy, and Ivo has Parasite 1.0 armor. So even calling it that indicates to me we're going to see him again in the armor, or we're going to see another version of the armor.
well, considering we only have 2 episodes left, I'm assuming
They have second
all
season
that could
already
come up
done
in
as
season
well.
2. Yeah,
Yeah. So uh, he has everything set up. All he wants to do is get Superman in to show a demonstration because essentially Ivo is exactly like Norman Osborn in Spider-Man 1. Like they're just getting ready to take away the company from him. He's trying to develop this ultra awesome tech to blow their people's socks off, and the board's not having it. They don't want to wait. So yeah, he's full on trying to show a demonstration because he's going to fight Superman. He has a wall of electricity that when Superman hits into it, it absorbs and sends energy to him. He also absorbs
I
every punch as well. I enjoyed the whole breakdown of his new
that was
parasite.
cool. I am a little jealous because let's see what 30 years ago I created the character like back when I was like, oh yeah, I can create characters, as a kid that would absorb people's attacks in a shield and then fire it off from the gauntlet that would like flow through his body. And Parasite did that here. I'm like, oh
It
man,
was super cool.
that's
I was
awesome.
like, "Oh my god!" That's
Um,
essentially with the heat vision. And he did. Did you notice one thing Superman did during the fight when he was in trouble for a second there?
what's that?
Turn blue again. His eyes turned blue.
Yes,
And then
yes,
he
yes,
started to
yes.
succumb to Parasite, but his eyes turned blue for a second. I'm like, is Superman hidden power here that we could see? Uh, Andrew asked, how soon could we see season 2 with it almost or already complete?
Yeah,
I'm thinking at least 6 months, Andrew, because they're going to get season 3 ongoing if there is a season 3, and you'll get a
writer's
bit of
strike and
space in
actor strike
between.
has to end before that even happens.
Yeah,
But yes, I
6
don't
months
think
from
it's
when it.
I don't think it's gonna happen until earliest March.
Yeah, agreed. And it could be they've done this before as well. Like this could also be they've done this with Harley Quinn multiple times, where they say you're getting a second season, but in reality, it was the full season. They just chopped it into 2 halves.
Yeah. Speaking
So
of
I've
Harley
seen that
Quinn,
done
it's
as
coming
well.
out this week as well.
Yes, that is.
I forgot
I'm
about that.
very excited as well.
Yeah.
So Joe, ultimately that doesn't go well, and Superman gets dropped. But I think this is the most Lois and Jimmy help. Where if they didn't take down that force field, I don't know if Superman's beaten Parasite.
Especially with all the people that were in there
Mm-hmm.
in the force field. Yeah, no, you're right. 100%.
So it really just goes to show that they
They are very
contribute.
helpful. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
every single episode, Superman gets in trouble. Lois and Jimmy are there to help him get out of trouble.
Andrew, is Harley Quinn good? I haven't seen it yet. It's very good as long as you don't care about it being serious. It is just
It
humor
it does
at
not
its.
Yeah, it does not take itself seriously one bit.
But myself and Joe are here for Bane all day, every day, and just you,
100%.
after watching the first episode or two, you'll know what we're talking about. All the characters, you'll have a good laugh with
Bane is
that
great.
show, Andrew. I think so as well. So, Joe,
The ending.
that pretty much wraps up the story.
Well,
And then we get Lois going back for the last minute of the episode to the board that she had before, and just a little rewind. Lois got Jimmy to get all these like National Enquirer magazines to look for Superman. Clark saw one of the magazines and had a little article about a 15-year-old boy from Kansas. He balled it up and put it in his pocket. At the end of the night, when him and Lois were getting all flirty and said it was a date, he put his jacket around Lois, and then she went home with it. And when she went home, she saw the board and reached into her pocket, found the thing, and she figures out that Clark is Superman. Do you think this comes to a head at the end of the next episode, or before? I think by episode 6, I think he's going to stall for so long, and then ultimately he's going to have to reveal to Lois that he's Superman.
I mean, he was about ready to reveal to her he was Superman until she started blaming Superman for everything.
And she got mad about him. She's like, I know he's lying. I hate people lying to me.
Yeah, I think she will confront him at the end of episode 5, and then by 6, it'll be all out there.
Yes.
Which, I mean, I think we even talked about that. I think I talked about that last week when I saw the opening anime credits of Clark with Lois and Jimmy standing on top of the ship in Kansas. That, they're going to find out probably this season. So
well, it just insults Lois's journalistic skills. I'm going to be honest with you that she can't figure out that he keeps leaving and then showing up in the just when Danger's there, and then comes back and he's just back after Danger's over. But I do like how she pieced it together. I love how they show her piecing it together here in this show as well.
That one was nice.
Yes.
But I will say she's doing a better job of piecing it together than Chloe is on Smallville.
Oh my god, 100%. And Andrew said, I just looked up Harley Quinn. It's got a great cast, hilarious cast. It's great. You will,
like I said, if you are not easily, if you get offended easily, probably don't watch it. But it's a great show. It doesn't take itself seriously, and it's just fun from beginning to end.
There's not much I can compare it to in terms of hourly animation. It's like what MODOK was trying to be honest with you. Or wished it could be.
Yeah.
I watched all 10 episodes in one day, in one setting.
That's your problem. You watched it all in one sitting. You should have watched it.
And I can tell you, it was a little rough at times. So, Joe, let's talk about our final thing of the day. Smallville. Talkville is back for season 3, and we're back for our Smallville retro recaps. We're talking about season 3, episode 1, Exile. What do you remember about this episode, Joe? What do you enjoy? What did
I did end up watching it before we got on here. I remembered that opening scene where he's looking at this car, and then like he goes and breaks into the ATMs to get all his money, and then buys the car with the lady to then just give the car away to the one bouncer. Like, okay, cool, whatever. I completely forgot about Morgan Edge being a thing.
Yeah,
being honest. That's fun. I remembered Helena showing up at Lex's funeral.
Yes, I do remember Lionel leaving as well. That was one of the things I did remember. This was okay. I told you when I wrote you, I thought this was a rather underwhelming season premiere. I didn't think they didn't even resolve the main issue that we went into last season with in this episode. It does look really cool at the end there, and I do enjoy the fight that we'll get in the next episode. Yeah. But still, I thought it was pretty stale. The stuff with Lex on the island I enjoyed, but
I mean, he could have, he's going crazy on an island. He could have just like trained himself and been like this world-class archer. I'm pretty sure it's the same island, right?
Andrew, you should catch up now because Animation Nation is covering the new season that is coming out of Harley Quinn.
Season 4 starts this week. So
yes.
Take your time.
So I there was some stuff I enjoyed. I like Clark being badass. The whole thing of I was confused. Was it Jor-El that was causing the thing on his chest, or was it wearing the ring? Because I think when he took the ring off, it subsided.
I think because the symbol is Jor-El trying to control him. I believe that it was counteracting each other. Like the ring was making him bad. He wore it too long, and the symbol is trying to get him to go back to his destiny, which is terrible. But yeah, I think it's just they were just playing against each other, so he had to take it off to reset himself. And he was just so lost that obviously he couldn't go back to the Kents, who are losing their farm.
Also,
like,
Chloe's like the worst worst journalist
That's
of all
what I'm
time.
saying. Like I was watching. Like I was watching it.
How'd you get all this stuff, Chloe? Like, open your eyes. Like you
What
got a
the
wall
heck?
of weird. You got a
Like,
wall of weird. Like you
this
stupid.
this is your like magnum opus of characters from Smallville that have unique abilities, and you're just looking past it because you're in love with the boy. Like
She's really a lot more smart in like 5th, 6th, 7th, like going onwards.
okay,
Season,
so
and she's like
remind me, does
watchtower.
she ever find out? I don't. She never
Yes,
finds out,
she
right?
finds out in
Does
season
she?
4. Yes, she finds it first.
No.
Yes, the girl that can teleport, the one that's gets hung, the one that Clark kind of likes. I can't remember her name.
In season 4, you mean Lois?
No,
She shows up in
I
season
can't
4.
remember her name. It's
I
driving me
remember that.
crazy. No, it's not Lois. It's oh my god, I can't remember her name now. But she dies, and but before she dies, she brings she calls Clark in a car and says like, I'm gonna crash, teleports out with Chloe in behind a rock, and it shows she sees Clark catching and then she reveals at the end of season 4 or season 5, episode 3 or 4, whenever he gets his powers back. I don't know, it's in that we'll get to it when we get to it.
Okay.
But I did not like Chloe here. Like, it's just insulting to see that. I'm glad she's not talking about Lana and her relationship and the love triangle stuff. I think that's the end of that, which, yay. I can't wait to see Jonathan. I love Jonathan going to see Jor-El too, and Clark being like, "You're working together now," and then him finding out that Jonathan has powers.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed that last part. But again, where it's the season premiere, I wish we would have got that fight to wrap up this episode.
I mean, we did. We had him flying
The conclusion. The conclusion
my
of this
bad.
fight.
You're asking for a lot more.
Beginning, middle, and end. I'm pretty sure the 2-minute fight that we're going to get in the next episode could have been shown. So,
I don't know.
But we're talking about a long time ago that you need to stretch out all these episodes.
Talkville at all? Or
yes, there wasn't much.
Did Lex actually eat bugs or
no? They made a look like bugs. Someone asked that question too.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was very average. They said it wasn't probably the least favorite of the season premiere so far. So wasn't much. I'm excited to see them the next episode. I think they have.
I'll be honest. I don't remember a lot from the season.
No, there's a lot from this. I know season 4 we get the Flash's appearance as well. There's a lot of stuff. Yeah, Lois. I'm sure they have Lois on as well.
5 was when we got
Lois comes in the first episode.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
Yeah,
but like season 5 is when we had the Supergirl wannabe, right?
I think, or could be season 6. Maybe might be season 6. I think. Yeah. So Joe, I think that wraps up the evening here. This was a fun time. Andrew, thank you for joining us in the chat.
Thanks, Andrew.
Listeners, we'll be back next week with more DC goodness. Until then, let's get excited for Blue Beetle. It's 25 days away or 24 days from when you're listening to this. Woo! Later, everyone.
Bye, y'all.